a sacred and powerful symbol of Japan's quest for harmony and happiness, symbol of the future. The Toyota Woven City.
Some economists say the world is entering a second machine age. Artificial intelligence and other advancements enabling robots.
From entire cities running on automated software to advanced towers more stunning than the skyline of Dubai, Japan's latest projects across multiple industries have moved it to the forefront of technology and innovation in 2025.
What better place than Japan to discover innovative healthcare solutions and technology that can improve people's lives all over the world?
These initiatives are so massive that they've effectively placed Japan decades ahead of other nations in terms of advancement. But when did these projects begin? And how did Japan transform from a struggling economy to a global tech giant in just a few short years? Join us as we explore the bold initiatives that are driving Japan further into the future. Toyota's Woven City. While many Western smart cities struggle with whether or not to include more traffic sensors in their systems, Toyota just broke all records with Woven City. More than just a public demo, tech analysts believe this $15 billion investment is designed to make America's best urban technology look like an old telephone at an iPhone convention. This urban paradise can be found at the base of Mount Fuji.
This Woven City is going to be 175 acres in Japan at the base of Mount Fuji on Toyota property.
And is showcased today as an urban laboratory that blows out everything in our current infrastructure. Now fasten your seatbelt, because here is where it gets unbelievable. Woven City is a 175-acre wonder that is designed from the ground up as a testing environment, and while our best cities are still debating whether to allow self-driving cars to operate past 10 p.m., Toyota promises that Woven City residents will be living, working, and raising families in a place where self-driving cars are the norm. Better yet, let's talk about street design. While many are familiar with the American approach of throwing in bike lanes on existing roads to make it look multimodal, Woven City is given 3 entirely different types of streets. One will be only for self-driving cars, another would be for annoying pedestrians with their headphones on, and the third would be for combining both. Think of it like having different highways for separate types of technology to avoid accidents.
Some of the technologies that we will test in the Woven City include automated driving, automated package delivery, clean energy, robotics.
Imagine for a moment that Manhattan had different lanes, where self-driving cars could function on their own without the person having to white-knuckle the steering wheel every 3 seconds. Speaking of self-driving, it seems Toyota hasn't given up on AI, promising to provide a better system that actually makes sense. Unlike previous demonstrations where every minor patch and bug fix is always labeled as new and advanced AI, Woven City will be fully integrating this technology at the urban infrastructure level. Most of us might be familiar with many smart home systems that are still struggling to understand why users want the light dimmed at 9 p.m. It's been this way for a few years now, but Woven City promises new interconnected systems that monitor everything. Of course, they promise it's not the dystopian future we all think of where the government is actively invading privacy, but rather a super system that monitors all important aspects of running a city. We are talking about traffic flow, air quality, and emergency response coordination. Think of it like Alexa's genius older brother that eagerly anticipates the needs of residents based on their lifestyle preferences.
Toyota describes it as a living laboratory. 2,000 people will live side by side with artificial intelligence,
instead of them having to yell out the name of the AI assistant every few minutes. Take traffic jams, for example. Toyota promises that Woven City's advanced systems would be able to reroute self-driving vehicles before congestion forms. But what if the air quality is dropping? Toyota combines smart building systems to adjust ventilation in smart home assistants, along with integrating increased outdoor activities in online algorithms across different chatbot recommendations. On the surface, this sounds way too good to be true, especially when we still celebrate the fact that some of our most advanced smart traffic lights just started communicating with each other without problems. From afar, it's almost like comparing a chess grandmaster to someone who just figured out the knight moves in an L shape. But this is where it gets even more interesting. Most of us who are familiar with modern trends in robotics know about Boston Dynamics, one of America's leading engineering and robotics design companies. Their famous humanoid robot, Atlas, regularly performs backflips, does parkour with ease, and allegedly dances to BTS songs whenever the engineers aren't looking. Spot, their dog-like robot, goes on its own through rough roads and does routine inspection for chosen industry sites and factories without help. Big Dog, another dog-like robot, was made to assist the military by inspecting places too dangerous for regular soldiers to navigate. But while it seems these robots are only practically useful today for impressing investors through YouTube engagement, Toyota promises their robots would be real-world assistants for everyone. They would be so integrated into daily life, taking care of everything like cooking.
They have created the first fully automated and intelligent robots that can learn recipes, cook all kinds of foods with a remarkable precision,
cleaning, and caring for the elderly. These robots would be built to navigate the same spaces as humans. As for home deliveries, Woven City promises to have ground-based robots taking groceries, medicine, and packages to consumers. Keep in mind that this is happening while most cities are still skeptical about allowing delivery drones to fly over people's homes. Toyota promises that most of the buildings in Woven City would be constructed with traditional Japanese woodworking techniques, but with the help of industrial machinery. If this works in the long term, we are looking at homes that look like traditional settlements from almost 100 years ago, but with the latest technologies and a much higher construction speed. With that said, let's now bend your imagination a little bit. Woven City is advertised as having a digital nervous system with intelligence baked into every utility line and building foundation. They promise smart infrastructure that deserves the name, unlike most things that bear that title just because they have additional sensors. It would know when a pipe might fail before it does. Seismic activities like earthquakes would be monitored by underground sensors to avoid heavy damage and losses. The combination of thousands of solar panels, new fuel cells, and battery storage protocols, all monitored by the public AI supersystem, would be optimized in a way that makes Tesla's Powerwall look like the average AAA battery.
CEO Elon Musk made his big announcement. Tesla will make a battery called Powerwall. The Powerwall home system will sell for $3,500.
Buzzwords aside, it would be able to store and distribute energy by studying the usage patterns of users and natural weather patterns before adjusting to maximize efficiency. Those enjoying it first would be the 100 residents planned to be moved in this fall to test out what life in Woven City would be like. However, all that is just the beginning. Uchisai Waicho's redevelopment. While it might be common today for developers to spend 3 years in environmental impact studies just to add a bike rack, Tokyo's leaders recently announced that they're redeveloping an entire district in the heart of the city.
Japan's capital city, Tokyo, is being redeveloped on a massive scale to make the city a more accessible and attractive place to live.
This old district, known as Uchisai Waicho, is 6.5 hectares and is part of the Chrome District Development Initiative. The idea is to create a new kind of sub-city with 4 futuristic towers that make Dubai's best infrastructure look average. 3 of these 4 new towers will change Tokyo's skyline by the late 2030, and each of them would stretch over 230 meters into the sky, and the 4th one would stand at 145 meters. To put this in perspective, it's almost the same as rebuilding 4 Empire State Buildings, but with digital systems far more advanced than anything we're familiar with. But that is just the tip of the iceberg. The real deal has little to do with the height or design of the buildings. As of the making of this video, the total project expected to be completed by the late 2030s is estimated to cover over 1 million square meters of floor space. This makes it the latest regeneration development in Tokyo's metropolitan area. That's much more floor space than entire downtown cores across multiple cities today. Yet each of them is designed from the ground up with modern systems. They are a big improvement over everything we are familiar with. For context, this is what we mean. Let's take Amazon's infamous Alexa for Business system, the smart building initiative that almost became a laughing stock that the internet would never forget. Many see it as the moment various companies realized that putting voice assistants in every deal in open offices was not a good idea. With different workers yelling different commands at the same time, it seemed most employees spent more time yelling commands at Alexa than actually getting work done. But that problem was just one out of several. The system regularly mistook conference calls as voice commands and started playing music during important presentations. After a long period of endless nightmares and issues, the program was quietly shut down. For most people, it seemed odd that smart offices were much less productive than the regular ones. However, these towers promise to have inbuilt sustainability systems with digital infrastructure that works intuitively. They would also have mixed-use spaces designed by people who understand how humans would prefer to live and work without needing to give out unnecessary information. Now let's talk about the mixed-use spaces. Modern infrastructure seems to have a strange obsession with segregation, the kind when you must live in one zone, work in another, and shop somewhere else in a way that makes users spend half their time moving from one place to another. It's almost as if we have unknowingly designed our cities on the assumption that humans don't like comfort. However, Tokyo's redevelopment plan goes against this trend.
Japan's capital city, Tokyo, is seeing massive urban redevelopment as the megacity looks to become a more accessible and attractive place to live.
By planning mixed-use complexes that are designed for interconnectivity. This way, the average office worker on the 30th floor can go grab a cup of coffee on the lower floor without needing to remember where they parked their car. Also, Tokyo's big plan seems to include something pretty unusual in this day and age: digital infrastructure that doesn't induce rage. Some of us know the experience of being in a conference room with touch panels that require an advanced computer science degree to operate, and elevators that take longer to respond than just using the stairs. Tokyo's redevelopment projects, on the other hand, plan to do just the opposite of that, but in a better way. Now this is where things get a little absurd. Somehow, those behind Tokyo's redevelopment projects are confident enough to believe these towers will intuitively anticipate the needs of workers. Elevators would recommend the office floors, climate control, which would adjust to occupancy, weather patterns, and the general mood of customers and employees. They promise those would not just be an experimental feature once the buildings are operational, but would be part of the project's core. How they plan on pulling this off with today's technologies is beyond imagination, even with the much-dreaded AI revolution underway. They claim these towers will feature lots of sensors embedded in app parts, from the very pillars that hold everything together to the smallest coffee machines. Every part of the building would work so intuitively that those working there would forget it exists, instead of reminding users they are smart by failing the most basic tasks at important moments. These buildings would be powered by modern energy resources and techniques. We're talking about solar integration, rainwater harvesting, and the latest HVAC systems. These systems would be built into the structures from the blueprints and not bolted on later as green washing machines. This alone puts other buildings to shame, as they celebrate LEED certification like it's a Nobel Prize in fighting climate change and improving the environment. Tokyo's plan seems to go far beyond that, promising real sustainability over smart buzzwords. Let's take biofuel as an example, specifically corn ethanol. This was a hot topic back in the early 2000s, and as we shall see, the pitch was very convincing. Just harvest some corn, grind it, and ferment the starch with yeast before purifying it to produce ethanol fuel. Relying on this instead would reduce dependence on foreign oil and cut down carbon emissions. Problem solved. And it seemed so easy. People were so pumped up about it that it became implemented by the US government as part of the 2005 Renewable Fuel Standard. Suffice it to say, this turned out to be a huge problem. For one, corn production required huge amounts of fertilizers that ruined the soil, leading to dead zones in waterways like the Gulf of Mexico. Worse yet, converting land to grow corn rather than food caused food prices to go up suddenly, and they couldn't keep running without constant funding from the government. As we shall see, Tokyo's latest initiative plans to avoid all that with many more improvements made along the way.
Now, Japan's second largest city, Osaka, has particularly struggled in Tokyo's shadow, but a new startup scene there is promising to boost the industry.
Japan's latest battery technologies. Just when we all thought Japan's huge plan was impressive enough, they decided to tackle the urban auto ecosystem as well. At a time when others debate whether EVs or hybrids are the future, or a political conspiracy by radicals on both sides, Japanese companies put all their chips in by building the needed infrastructure for an all-electric future. It almost seems like their companies have seen the future, because the amount of money spent so far has been nothing short of astonishing. Let's start with Mazda's battery megaplant. On January 6th, it was announced that they were constructing a massive facility for battery production in Iwakuni City, a region located in Yamaguchi Prefecture. This facility is expected to have an annual production capacity of 10 gigawatt hours. To put that into perspective, that's enough energy capacity to power over 150,000 EVs each year. That's more EVs than most American states sell across all manufacturers combined. Yet, this is produced by one company in one facility, and while its scale is nowhere close to Tesla's KTL, which gives an annual production output of 300 gigawatt-hour, its goal is to sustain the Japanese auto industry in its race towards complete electrification by 2030. Whether or not this would even work is still up in the air, but let us know what you think in the comments down below. Either way, it's still impressive, as this time, it isn't just Mazda deciding to make batteries and hoping for the best. It's been reported that the facility would be using specialized cells made by Panasonic under a partnership agreement. This would work through an effective integrated supply chain, where all efforts are managed by both companies, without relying on imports to make things easier. Each cell pack would work with next-gen battery chemistry. What this means is that while others are still trying to force electric power into already existing vehicles to no avail, Mazda seems to be optimizing all their lineups from 2030 with no added costs and range anxieties. Within the factories will be automated assembly processes and quality control systems designed to work not for current market conditions, but for the next 2 decades. Even more interesting, though, is Nissan's new battery network. Today, Nissan once planned to establish a new lithium-ion production facility in Fukuoka Prefecture as part of Japan's master plan for dominating the EV industry, but the plan got shut down by May of this year. However, just like Mazda, it seems Nissan still believes EVs are the future of the auto market, as they are now working not on their own, but as a cog in Japan's national strategy, and the company's ambition is far beyond anything mentioned before. As we know, battery production for most countries is concentrated in only a handful of facilities. These facilities are mostly owned by foreign companies that rely on supplies from less developed countries. The supply chain that forms as a result of this easily breaks down for reasons that cannot be explained in this video for the sake of time. But this is where it gets interesting. Nissan aims not just to build a couple of new factories, but to establish its own production network that covers multiple regions within and outside the country. Through Nissan, Japan would have a battery production network that covers the entire supply chain. Think of it like having one big refrigerator for your entire neighborhood, rather than having multiple smaller power systems that generate a lot of noise and smoke. Through this widespread network, there would be no such thing as breakdowns in supply chains. When one facility needs maintenance, another would operate in its place as part of the much larger network. The same thing would happen when demand is high in one region. All the other plants close by can assist in better production to meet demand. And when newer and better battery technologies become available, other individual facilities can make upgrades while the main factories keep operating as they always have without breaking down supply. Nissan's factories will focus on producing batteries for different vehicle platforms based on demand to prevent waste and shortages. All this is done as part of what many call the 2035 vision. Far from just being an aspirational target for Japan, this is defined to generate better headlines and satisfy those who advocate for the environment. It is backed by the same system that led to the Shinkansen bullet train network and made it reliably efficient. Compare this with average EV policies that increase costs for consumers who are forced to use charging apps that don't work half of the time. Put all this together, and we have newer battery technology that actually advances technology. Mazda's Iwakuni plant will use next-gen manufacturing processes that are designed to evolve. No more using the same battery chemistry and cell formats for over a decade without radical changes that provide better value to users. We are talking about an automated production line that can adapt to new materials with new assembly techniques. This is expected to continue until solid-state batteries become practical enough to be produced commercially. By continuous adaptation, all the facilities would be ready to produce them the moment the market is open. By then, the new cathode materials would have improved energy density with better production lines to put everything together. With better recycling technologies, there would be improved closed-loop material recovery. Even with all this said, we haven't even spoken about full charging in 5 minutes, electric grids charging millions of EVs at the same time, and advanced bidirectional charging that turns every EV into a mobile power plant. With advanced software systems, Mazda, Toyota, and Nissan promise their future EVs will be able to learn their owners' schedules and automatically charge when electricity is cheapest and cleanest. Only time will tell how many of these promises will come true, and until that happens, we'll just have to wait and see. So, what do you think? Is Japan far ahead in technology, or is this just another overblown story? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Also, click on the next video shown on your screen. You will enjoy it.